The Beanbag
Boy,
Boys.
yeah,
I love the name.
it made
Oh,
me think of testicles.
it,
Welcome to Trees in Space, the podcast that gives you an honest review of movies that you think you might want to see. I'm Nathan, and
Jason, how y'all doing, everybody? I'm waiting.
this week we watched Good Boys, a rated R comedy for language, alcohol, and crude sexual content. It was directed by Gene Stumpskinski and written by Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stumpsinski. It made 8.3 million in the box office with a 1 hour and 35-minute runtime.
83.1 million. You said 8.3.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad. I
big difference.
a little
Yes.
bit, and it came out August of 2019. So
Yeah. It's I forgot how we usually do this, but
I feel like the other person should do the thing. But
right.
so
I just
essentially, for those that are unfamiliar with this movie, this kid was invited to his first kissing party. 12-year-old Max and his best friend Lucas and Thor for some much needed help on how to pucker up. When they are hit with a dead end, Max decides to use his father's drone to spy on a teenage girls next door. When the boys lose their drone, they skip school and hatch a plan to retrieve Max's bit before Max's dad can figure out what happened.
can figure out. So,
Yeah.
um, before we actually get into the movie, I have to ask you: did you have or have you ever been invited at 12 years old to a kissing party? Was that a thing in your neighborhood, in your neck of the woods, at your school?
Uh,
Not a
uh,
pot party, not, but specifically,
yes.
7 minutes in heaven type
Yeah.
party.
I kissed my first black girl at a party like that.
Yeah, see, because I there was never a kissing part, at least not for me.
Yeah,
I was never
boy and
invited to
girl
it.
party. What else happens at boy and girl parties? You learn how to kiss.
Well, I mean, we had to spin the bottle, but it wasn't like that wasn't the idea behind the party. It wasn't called like that's what you were there to do. You just ended up doing it.
Mm.
Of course, I was raised up in a different area, so that probably turned into okay. Let's not bullshit what we're here for. We're here to kiss each other, so they called it the kissing party later on, like in the '90s or something. Ours was just. But when I was 12, I don't remember going to parties. I mean, I had no friend. I mean, okay, people went to other people's houses, but the parents weren't home. Sometimes the parents were home at Friday nights or whatever, and we did it anyhow. But it wasn't like a official, hey, we're having a party. Just kind of rolled up that way.
Really?
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
lived in
it's
a
quite
nice little
often,
neighborhood.
actually.
Mhm.
We had those in middle school. That we had those things all the time. It was usually the same groups of people. It was like birthdays.
Yeah, so it's just I just didn't know, but yeah, I don't. I mean, I've been to them, but I didn't. I guess just because it wasn't called that doesn't mean that wasn't what it was. So I just wondered.
Oh,
Uh, but the movie itself. Oh, and by the way, spoilers if you have not seen this beautiful masterpiece of a coming of age story about three boys or
oh my god,
twins.
I love this movie so much. It was so good.
It's hilarious through and through. Be warned if you are as I've said before, if you look at things through the wrong lens, that's all you're going to see. So be warned that if you're one of those, and I don't want to say it this way because I am, as you know, a conservative mind type person. I consider myself conservative. If you're one of those anal conservative people, those really, you might see this worse than it is, like with the sex toys and things like that, with the kids using those as weapons because they don't know any better. You might, oh, they're trying to put sex things on 12-year-old kids. That's not what that was about. But, anyways, um, the Beanbag
Boy,
Boys,
yeah,
I love the name.
it made
Oh,
me think of testicles.
it,
Every
well,
time they were like the beanbag boys, I was like, yeah, you got some beanbags, all right, boys.
apparently Max got the dick. So I mean, according he gets the big dick. So um, I think my not my favorite. I can't have a favorite part, but what I really enjoyed almost immediately was Annabelle. the baby sister to
Yes.
Thor
Yes.
when she pops out and she's looking all scary and stuff, and she's just a freaky little girl.
I forgot she was even in the movie.
Yeah, the very
If
beginning and at
so
the very end.
briefly, yeah.
Yeah, because at the very end, she's because those kids are playing on the sex swing.
Right.
She's standing there. She goes, "That swing is for sexing.
Yes.
People do sex on that swing." And they're
Uh,
like, "Oh." But
of
was it? Did it seem not realistic, but obviously not realistic. It's realistic, but they stretched it, and obviously the adventure part. Um, as far as clicks and stuff, I mean, do you think 12-year-olds are running around like that? The record's 3 sips of a beer. Yeah, sippy cup, sippy cup. I mean, or is that just in like stretching
that
out?
this movie hit such a resignation in me because this was almost felt like a shot for shot remake of my preteens and teens.
I'm
Like
assuming not all in one day.
we've had some adventures in a day, but like I have one story where it's very not similar, but it relates enough where like we got baked when I was like 13.
Yeah.
And I walked down, I talked to my parents. I was so gone at this point. Like, so this movie hit me in the spot. I was like, oh my God, this is just too perfect. This is exactly what my youth was. And I look back at the fact that I have a child now and is like, I'd be mortified.
But you don't have two friends like this that hang out with him to do these kind of things.
No, I love Lucas.
That's the black kid, right?
Yeah, he is probably my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, and they all acted great. All the acting was
Oh
excellent.
my God, they're
Kids acted
perfect.
great. The girls next door, I think they played their parts well because they weren't really bad. They were just one of their Molly.
Right. They just wanted to go party. They wanted to check out.
Yeah.
Though I really wish at the end of the movie, like they're eating the grilled cheeses or whatever, they're sitting on the couches and the girls give each of the boys a kiss.
See, I'm glad they did not do that.
Even if it was like a harmless little peck on the
Okay.
cheek,
Okay. Yes.
something
Yeah.
like that, like, oh, here's your first kiss. Mwah. Like you got a kiss from a 18-year-old or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like something to make them feel big in their britches.
Yes. And I totally forgot that Will. What's his name? The father. Fournette. Real. The
Yeah,
father.
he was in Strays.
Yes, I forgot that he was in this movie because I seen it
I didn't
before.
know he was
So,
in it.
but I love the beginning of it because he's like, I'm leaving, and he goes, "You want to hug me? I'll hug you twice when you get back." Because of course he has a hard on because he's watching porn or whatever.
Yep.
And he goes, "I'm so proud of you." Or what he goes, he's like,
This is such a
sitting
good
here discovering yourself, masturbating. I'm just, he's like, I wasn't doing that, Dad. I would have been mortified. I would have been mortified.
Oh yeah, if my dad just walked in so nonchalant, like, "Oh, you diddling yourself? All right."
It's like, and you found a new friend, your best friend, the best thing to do, or whatever. He wasn't wrong.
No. And why Thor's parents have a lot of sex toys.
They did, and you see the mom. I think she's pretty hot, but you never see the dad.
Mm,
The only father you see is Lucas. No, Lucas is
Max.
Max. You only see Max's father. Oh, I mean, you see Thor, not Thor's, but Lucas's father and mother because they're going through a divorce. And I like how they did that. I like how they intertwined the 3 different children that have 3 different upbringings.
Mm-hmm.
And life's a little bit different, but I don't know about well, no, because both the parents are all married, all 3 sets. One's going through the divorce, but the other 2 are not. So they're showing kids of families where parents stayed together, which I
Right.
thought was good. And they showed a breakup of one family and how it was affecting that child. And I like the part where he's like, "We're getting divorced," and he's like, "What do you say?" He goes, what about Taco Tuesday?" "Oh, of course we're still gonna have Taco Tuesday. Just
But
one's gonna be also on Wednesday." It's like,
and like America's Got Talent, we're like, oh, of course we're still gonna watch that. Just you're gonna have to watch it twice.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like those parents were great. You know,
That's so true though. Like
it's
in horses, like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna do that, buddy. We're gonna do it twice. So you're gonna have four courses.
exactly. So it's like it's nothing's gonna change. And the thing is, and that's the thing about this movie. There's so much truth because I know obviously for it to be funny, they have to exaggerate a lot of the stuff. But there's so much truth involved in being a 12-year-old at a school trying to become popular, or be, you know, with the in crowd or whatever, or not caring about that and trying to be your own person,
Right.
finding yourself and growing apart. Because at the end, they kind of, as they say about the hermit crab, at a certain point, you have to outgrow that shell and grow into your own, or and that was a really good storyline, and the way they handled the divorce and the way they handled all those kind of things. Especially because all this boy wanted to do was kiss this really cute girl, and he does. And then, like 2 minutes later, she breaks up with him, and so he's dating another girl.
Yep.
And then she breaks up with him.
Yeah. And then they start dating.
Yeah, they start dating, and it's like, and he's all busted, and that's just, it's heartbreaking when you're that age. But that's exactly how it happens. It's forever for a week.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
Forever
they did so well.
is never long enough. The Rotten Tomatoes scored this an 80%. The audience score is 86%. Some of the 5-star ratings we have is one from Jason W. He was surprised at, he has a surprising amount of heart.
And it does, and a lot of humor, and a lot of, like, when the girl was running after them, chasing them, and Lucas slams against the thing and comes off, and his arm is hanging down.
His arm's all dislocated.
I'm just like, oh my god! And then the guy comes out of the thing and goes, "What's happening here? We're running from our babysitter because she's trying to touch our penises."
I am
no, it wasn't. It was no, and she just took off running because she can't. She can't explain it. She ain't gonna wait for the cops. Of course, she wasn't doing that, but it was just really well done. Oh, and by the way, that little boy who, I don't know if his actual voice, but if you listen to him sing at the end, where he's the Rock of Ages,
yeah.
if you listen to him singing, he does have a pretty good voice for rock.
He does.
He does.
I think that I don't know. I just overall I love this movie.
Yeah. So one of the 1-star reviews from April the 3rd. That's the guy's name, by the way. The idea of humor in this movie relies solely on how naive these kids are. It isn't believable or funny, an absolute disappointment. No, there are kids that are extremely naive, because some of them in the movie, some are more naive than, in certain areas than other ones. It's like 2 of them have no idea and 1 does. Then it switches. So that's what happens. You grow up differently and you learn different. Like when they stole the purse and goes, "What's that?" It's a tampon. It's it's what girls use to stick up their butt so they don't have babies or something like that.
Something like that. He's like, "Oh, we got her now."
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
I shadow back to that time in my life where I would have done the exact same thing with a tampon.
Yeah.
Or like I saw like a condom or something, like, oh my god.
Because you don't know these things, like because I think I was in 7th grade. And I was talking to a boy named Bobby somebody, whatever, and we're talking about, sex and stuff. And then he's like, well, and then you get her to come. And I looked at him and I was like, girls don't come. I didn't know girls came. I had no idea.
4 years ago, I would have believed you.
I knew guys did because of me, but I didn't know girls did. And then of course, looking back, of course they do. And why would they want to have sex if they don't get some pleasure out of it? So, so yes, certain boys are more naive than others in certain aspects. So I thought it was a very believable as part of that, the naivety, whatever.
Naivety.
Naivety. I don't even know. Yes.
This was on January 5th of 22. Very funny story. I was laughing very loudly at some points in this movie, even though it was mentioned a few times. It's not all about sex. It's about the relationship between the three good boys. I especially love the scene where they arm themselves with sex toys and acting. The acting is great. Absolutely recommend it. Love
I
the
almost
scene where they
forgot.
answer the door.
Yeah, I almost forgot that scene with the sex doll. They think it's a CPR doll.
Yeah, I would have paid 1,000.
He's carrying that thing out. Ah!
Or when he kisses, like, why is there a hair? I was like, oh.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm just like, I've never had a sex doll, but I always thought sex dolls had an opening in the mouth area and it was never closed. I don't know why.
That's a high end sex doll, and I was surprised that they didn't have like it had a closed mouth like that. Like I would have assumed at least it would have looked like it had a crack, so you can
Yeah,
possibly get something in there.
exactly. And the bottom of his feet had little metal prongs. I guess you can stand it up to make it, move or something because it
So
had
probably
little,
to charge it.
yeah, or something. It just was. But I mean, I laughed so hard when the guy who's there to buy the card, he asked the doll for some water, and he like because she has earphones
Yeah,
on, can't hear her anyhow. It's a doll, and, and he touches it, and she falls over. He's all like, "Fuck," because you don't know that's not a human being.
I love when Lucas was coaching Max up and like, all right, now you got to ask for consent,
Yeah, yeah. You said yes, yes,
and
yes,
he's like, consent was given.
yes. Can I kiss you? Why? What's special about me? That was brilliant. I like
Was
Lucas was so good. I love Lucas. Um, okay, the next 1 star. Couldn't watch it all the way through because I was disgusted seeing them in a bedroom with a sex doll. These 12-year-old kids. Christ, Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen wrote this. What the?
he
I
did.
don't. He did.
Hmm.
It don't say he did. It don't say Seth Rogen up here. Writers. Nope.
Well, he
Oh,
produced.
he's a producer.
Yeah.
Okay. Those kids are way too young to be watching porn or be near a sex doll. What the fuck is wrong with Seth? You're a sick child molesting weirdo. Those kids are going to grow up to be like you. You should go. Nope. Can't talk about unaliving yourself on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Uh, Clearly, this person does not know how to take a joke.
And like I said, if you watch it through that very conservative, narrow point, that's exactly how you're going to see this. But that's not the. I mean, they didn't probably need as much of it, but each one of it served a purpose as far as the storyline. Like, when he gave her the necklace at the end,
Hmm.
when like the cop. Oh, the cop! I love the cop, and we like the cop in the store.
Yeah.
The double edge. So it wasn't like they were just props just for props' sake. The doll was sold so they could get the drone later on. So
Right.
there was reasoning behind it. I mean, it might be a little
There
much,
was
but
one little hang up I had where everything seemed to kind of like fall into place a little bit. But like the highway crossing the highway scene was hilarious.
it I live here now. Yes, I would have done the same thing. Like, yeah, I live here now.
I would have gone back for the beer.
Yeah. What's in your pants? My dick, my penis, and pull out big old beer. There are so many funny things in this movie.
Hmm. My last 5-star comment comes from Andrew A. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. The dialogue was original and funny, but still believable. It also sends a good message, mixed for the tweens as well. And
And
I have to admit, I considering letting Brody watch this movie because I think it has a lot of positive message in here, especially with Lucas and like that whole friend dynamic.
mhm.
You need those different types of kids to form a really good bond.
And the fact that Max was like sticking up for Thor and stuff, like he'd holler at the, he'd walk out with him. He didn't leave him behind, like when he drank the beer and he threw it down or whatever. He see you later. He walked with him. He didn't say, "Oh, what a dork," and try to stay with the cool kids. So that was nice. Everything Lucas did was great. I love the part where he calls for the creeps or the scabs or whatever they're called to escort them into the school.
Oh yeah. And they're like hiding their
Yeah,
faces and
and he all gritted ear to ear because he don't care. He does not care. Um, but I can see, yes, it does have good messages mixed for tweens, but I'm not sure how many tweens should go see this. Your son's a tween, so you're like debating
well,
it.
he's
So
13 now, but
yeah,
yeah.
this is not for a child. This is a rated R movie. It's not, but it's for a child.
I would consider, at 13, 14, that this movie would be
Yes.
appropriate. And, again, this was very similar to how a lot of my summers were going from that age all the way up until I graduated high school.
So you just had a bunch of sex toys everywhere, huh?
Not sex toys, but we'd find magazines in the road, packs of cigarettes and beers, and we lived in the woods. That shit was all over the place.
Exactly. And so I think what this person is saying, I agree with this person, but it's tough to have for you to bring your 12-year-old boy to watch this particular movie because there is some overage of the sexual things.
I would say that
I don't know how you would edit this for TV.
if you're a parent, you must watch this movie first. If you like it or not, watch the whole thing start to finish, so that way you can formulate whether or not your child may be appropriate for this movie or mature enough for the content. Because it is a rated R movie, but you as a parent should be able to make that deciding factor on whether or not you're going to let your kid watch it.
Right. Because if you have a 12-year-old that's naive like these were, and they're watching the beginning where they have the sex doll and they kiss it, and they say it's a CPR doll, a 12-year-old may actually think it's a CPR doll and not find that part funny, except that the whole he kissed his not sex doll.
Shit, some adults might not even know what that
exactly.
is.
So that could go over their head. If it doesn't go over their head, then guess what? What they're watching is not above their head. So they're already past that point. Sorry. And so maybe when they answer the door, even that's fine because they're not using any of that stuff. So I can see both sides, but I think it's perfectly fine. Maybe not perfectly fine. Okay, this is the very last one of the negative comments. Can we not normalize kids using every cuss word imaginable? They already do. I thought that was very believable for a 12-year-old.
Yeah, my kid swears all the time.
Yeah, so holding dildos, anal beads, and just being way too inappropriate for their ages. They don't know what they're holding.
When that little girl put those anal beads around her neck and then she smelt them and was like, I'm gonna wear this later.
I'm gonna wear this. Yeah. Seriously, that means they're using it and they're not washing it afterwards. That's disgusting. Seriously, is there a line anymore? Superbad was funny because it was adults acting like teenagers. These are real kids. Who is the content made for? Other kids? Adults who think it's funny for kids to act this way? Are we going as a culture? This is a big no for me. Points. I get it, but like you said, like we said, it's not for everyone. But I laughed my ass off. And when I was growing up, I mean, we like you said, the cigarettes, and this is basically Stand By Me, that old movie about the looking for a dead body. They're smoking, they're cussing, they're doing the same stuff for this generation, if you will, with a little more with sex toys and stuff. Because if they cut those parts out, it probably only cuts out maybe 7 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, probably.
So
the what the fuck review. I think whoever made this movie may be a pedophile. You media makers leave a shitty example for our innocence and future. If you think your children, if you let your kids leave the house, if you think your kids aren't talking like this or sampling in some sort of whatever stupidness, you're a dumbass.
Yes, because especially with the internet and access to everything, and when they went up there to kiss the girl, when it goes, well, don't do the TV. That guy on the video didn't know what he was doing. He don't know how to kiss anyhow. All he did was lick her asshole, and you would lick someone's asshole.
Yes.
Oh, but there's no way that's gonna fit in there.
I am going to give my review of this movie. I loved it so much. I would definitely watch it again many more times. I will give it 3 trees and a stump.
You are right on there, my friend. Because for me, my wheelhouse is between 2 and 4 trees. It's going to be hard to get anything lower than 2 and hard to get anything above 4. Because I don't know why I do that to myself. So I'm going to put this right smack dab in the middle and give this 3 stars, 3 hearts, 3 stars, 3 horseshoes, 3 diamonds,
3
and
clovers.
3 trees. And 3 clovers. Damn it, and 3 trees.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Trees in Space. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us for more great content. Also, if you've seen any of the movies that we have reviewed, we'd love for you to comment and just share your thoughts and opinions. And maybe we judged your movie wrong. We're willing to concede potentially, but chances are what we rated, we rated them well. We'll see you next time on Trees in Space.
What?